The idea of rolling out of your bed, walking to your kitchen, making a cup of coffee, walking down the hallway, and being in your office seems incredibly attractive. A common topic that I get asked about a lot and that comes out a lot on social media is working from home. I've been working at home for about 8 months now, and it has come with a lot of awesome benefits, but it's something that I think way too many people only know the positive side about because it can seem incredibly attractive. So in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about what working from home is really like. So to begin with, working from home can seem incredibly attractive. In today's job market, with the internet offering all that it offers, working from home is becoming a really great thing for both employee and employer. It allows for more flexibility on the employee side, and it's cheaper on the employer side. So it's becoming incredibly attractive for a multitude of different reasons. Especially on the employee side, you have the work-life balance, aspect. So, the ability to work from home means that you can be closer to your family, you can be closer to your kids, you can be closer, to their school if they need to be picked up from school. There's not a commute back to go pick them up, to go home, and then go back to work. There's also a lot of money-saving aspects of it as well. You don't have to pay for that commute, which can be, if you're living on the West Coast or the East Coast, incredibly expensive and time-consuming. The idea of rolling out of your bed, walking to your kitchen, making a cup of coffee, walking down the hallway, and being in your office seems incredibly attractive. I'm not going to say that working from home is awful. Honestly, I think I would prefer it over working from an office. But I did want to talk a little bit about the downsides and kind of some of the things that you should consider before taking or looking for a work from home job or turning your current position into a work from home job if your employer offers that. So let's talk about what I brought up at first, the idea of rolling out of your bed, going and grabbing a cup of coffee and working from 9 to 5 in your PJs. That sounds like the perfect life, and it is really, really nice. But for me at least, and I've talked to a lot of people about this who have worked from home even longer than I have, and they've mentioned that one of the aspects about working in an office that they liked was that you walk through that office door and there's something that switches. You're like, okay, this is where I work. I've got to be professional here. I've got to focus on my work here. I've got to, kind of stay in that zone. And then as soon as you walk out of the office door, that switches off. You don't really have that working from home, or at least it's a lot more difficult to do, to kind of put yourself in the zone of saying, okay, this other room in my house that's like 50 feet away from my bed and 20 feet away from my couch, I've got to treat this as my workplace and not as my home where I can be comfortable. To kind of switch into that zone takes a lot of discipline and kind of, it takes some time to put yourself in that mindset, but it's doable. For me, at least, it's just kind of saying, okay, I need to treat this as my office, and surrounding yourself with an environment that kind of promotes putting yourself to task and promotes putting yourself on the job, kind of putting up reminders and having, whiteboards off on one side and having, all of your work set out in front of you in an organized manner, and having, I took a corner desk and I kind of laid it out to where it kind of sectioned me off from the rest of the room, to where I walked through that door and I literally walked into what basically is a large cubicle. For me, that kind of helped with my headspace. It helped put me in the kind of mindset of, okay, this is my cubicle, this is where I work. I'm surrounded on all sides with the things that I'm working on. And, that was kind of the way that I fixed it. But it still is difficult when you're working from home and you're 20 feet away from your couch, where you can turn on Netflix and you're already in your PJs and you can just laze the day away. I still have difficulties with that, honestly, just kind of staying motivated and staying on task. Another way that I've kind of fixed that is just kind of focus all of your energy on a schedule. Say, okay, at this time I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to go shower, I'm going to have my breakfast, and then as soon as I walk through that door, I start on work and I don't stop until 5, 6, 7 o'clock, whenever you stop work. And that kind of pretty neatly segues into the second issue that I've had a lot with working from home. When you leave the office, you can turn that switch off. As soon as you walk through the door, you're like, okay, work is over. That's a lot of the reason why a lot of people like cleared work or working for, government entities. You literally can't take your work home with you. When your work is at your home, it can be very difficult to say at 5 o'clock, okay, I'm going to switch it off. I've honestly found times where at 5:30, 6 o'clock, 6:30, 7 o'clock, I've kind of had difficulty getting off task because I'm like, well, I'm right here already. All I have to do is walk to the kitchen, grab dinner, and go back into my office and keep working. Your mind, especially if you really like your job like I do, your mind tends to say, keep working. You're right here next to the office. If you need to go to bed, you can walk right out of your office into your bedroom and go to bed. It's not like you've got to commute. It's not like they close the doors of your office. You're right there, so you might as well keep working. That can be very dangerous, for your work-life balance, which is more important than just about anything else in your career outside of your actual career. If you don't hold your work-life balance and you don't balance your time between your 9 to 5 and everything else, it can really hurt you, and it can honestly ruin your job because you end up burning out a lot faster. The way I've kind of fixed that, I've set alarms before and that's helped, but really just sticking to the schedule like I said before, where you say, okay, I'm going to start work at this hour, I'm going to take lunch at this hour, and that is going to be my hard lunch. I only, this is what I do during lunch is I eat, and that's it. I don't work through lunch unless a situation arises where you have to. And you say, okay, I don't work after dinner. Once I stop, I go get food, then I'm done. That way you're kind of making your hunger your limiting factor at that point. As soon as you get hungry, you're going to go get food, especially when you're that close to the kitchen. You kind of tell yourself, I either starve myself or I stop working and maintain a good work-life balance, which can be difficult because a lot of times you get so, focused in on that one thing that you're doing for work. And you're like, okay, well, I could starve myself tonight and not eat until 11 o'clock and keep working. The third thing that I've kind of had issues with working from home, maintaining kind of a social life. It kind of seems like, well, if you work from home, then you're going to be able to maintain this awesome work-life balance and all of that. But you kind of turn into a hermit. Being out of the house kind of feels a certain way in your mind and, to you emotionally. Having work force you out of the house can honestly be a really good thing. But if you're working from home, you kind of turn into a hermit. You're going 9 to 5, staying at home, sitting in your office on your computer or, doing whatever you do from home. You kind of get in that mindset of, okay, I don't ever need to leave the house except when I go grocery shopping to grab more food so that I can starve myself at the end of the day, and, all of this awfully unhealthy lifestyle. It does kind of take a toll on your social life because there's just this constant feeling of being a hermit. You're constantly, off in your house instead of at the office surrounded by other people. I did actually find a good solution to this. As a lot of you know who follow me on Twitter, I'm sure you guys know that I love cigars and I love coffee. So I've found that since most of my setup is mobile, I've got a laptop that I work from that, that works fine for me. I can work from coffee shops and I can work from some cigar shops. So I kind of tell myself, okay, 2 or 3 days out of this week, I'm going to work a couple of hours out of a cigar shop and a couple of hours out of a coffee shop in the area. I don't ever meet anybody there. I don't ever talk to anybody, but just kind of surrounding yourself with people and listening to natural conversation in the background, even if you never talk to them yourselves, it can kind of take you out of that mindset and, kind of make you a little bit more social, keep you from becoming a hermit. Those 3 things are kind of the 3 main things that, bothered me and that I didn't really think about. The 4th one might come a little bit as a surprise because it surprised me. I talked a little bit earlier about how not having the commute and not having to worry about driving to work and paying for parking and paying for gas and all of that, or, paying for public transportation. I kind of talked a little bit about how you can save money there. One place where you're not going to save money is actually building your office up. I remember, when I first realized that I was taking an at-home position, luckily my employer supplied me with my laptop, but they didn't supply me with all of the other things that I've got in my office. I've got, a large desk, 3 monitors that were each $200, a, large PC, an office chair, and a bunch of other stuff. I had to pay for all of that. Sometimes employers will subsidize it, they'll pay for your desk, but it's pretty uncommon, honestly. And that can start to get pricey, especially if you want to create an aesthetic and comfortable work environment, which you're going to want to if you spend, 9+ hours a day sitting in that office. You're going to want it to be nice looking, pleasing to the eye, and you want to be comfortable there. That can be pricey. And honestly, that's something that I don't, there are ways to kind of offset that price a little bit. Like I said, some employers will pay for a little bit of your office setup. But honestly, just deal hunting like you would with anything else. That's the only way to fix it. That's kind of one of those things that I can't really find a solution to unless you're really good at finding cheap furniture and cheap electronics and stuff like that. Newegg has some great sales on monitors every once in a while. They've got great sales on PCs. You can find cheaper desks on IKEA and Amazon and all of that. But at the end of the day, it's still going to cost a pretty good amount of money that you wouldn't have to pay otherwise if you were working at a traditional office. The convenience and the work-life balance, they outweigh all of the downsides of working from home. My ability to be at home to help my wife, my ability to make food at home instead of going out or having to commute back and forth to my office to make food. Kind of my ability to control my own office environment. Those are huge upsides. And I really do enjoy working from home. I just do wish that somebody had warned me about kind of the downsides. The fact that it's very difficult to turn work mode on, and then the fact that it's very difficult to turn work mode off, the feeling like you're a hermit, that you're constantly shut up in your office and your own home and you're kind of sectioned off from society, and the fact that honestly building an office is extremely expensive. I wish that somebody had warned me about those things just so that I could kind of prepare myself already, build up the discipline and the habits that are necessary to kind of have a good mindset. And I wish that I had been warned ahead of time. So honestly, I could have invested in my office furniture a little bit earlier, started saving a little bit early. So I do hope that those hints are helpful. Working from home was definitely something that I wasn't prepared for mentally, and it definitely wasn't something I was prepared for financially. So if you're looking at a position like that, or if you've already accepted a position, or if you're thinking about transitioning over to a position that's work from home, I would highly recommend it. It's not for everybody, and you might discover that it's not for you if you can't switch work on and off like I learned how to. I would definitely at least recommend that you start saving for office furniture if you don't already have, a built up office. I was a college student, so I didn't have a bunch of nice office furniture. I would at least, recommend saving up and kind of getting into some good daily habits to set that schedule. So that being said, thank you guys for watching. I don't know if I'll do more weird random vlogs like this. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me out a whole lot. Give me recommendations and ask questions and all that fun stuff. Kind of helps turn this into something other than me talking to a camera. But yeah, thank you guys, and I'll see you guys later.